Welcome to the big causality session of QPL. My name is Lydia. I'll be chairing this session from Zurich, so greetings from Switzerland. And just a reminder that we'll have the photo session today at 1 p.m. So right after the end of this long session. So we start with 2 talks in the morning, then we'll have a coffee break, and then we'll have more talks. And the first talk is by Wataru Yokojima, who is a PhD student with Miyomura at the University of Tokyo. So the floor is yours.
Thank you for your kind introduction and organizing this conference. I research higher-order quantum operations in Merle's group. My talk is about, could you hear this mass causal?
Yes.
Thanks. My talk is about consequences of preserving reversibility in quantum superchannels. This talk is based on this work is submitted to quantum with this number and arXiv with this number. In quantum information theory, transformations between quantum states play a fundamental role in quantum information processing. By physical requirements such as linearity, complete positivity, and trace-preserving property, these transformations are mathematically formalized as quantum channels, that is CPTT map. In this presentation, let us give a single tilde denote maps. In the quantum circuit formalism, quantum channels represented by straight line blocks. If channels take as input quantum states represented by semicircular circular objects, then they output quantum states. These mathematically formalized quantum channels are characterized by the Stein-Spring derivation, and so they have a clear physical interpretation. Every quantum channel can be realized by unitary channels combined with an auxiliary state and discarding a part of the quantum system. Quantum channels may also be subject to transformations in quantum information processing. By physical requirements, these transformations can be mathematically formalized as quantum superchannels, also called quantum process or something. In this presentation, letters with double tilde denote quantum superchannels, and quantum superchannels are colored in quantum circuits figures. Quantum superchannels have sorts represented by a dotted line box. Inserting a quantum channel into the slot, we obtain another quantum channel. Precisely, quantum superchannel is required to map quantum channels into quantum channels even if it acts, the superchannel acts on a subsystem of the input quantum channels. But I present only simple cases in the forum. Here. It has been shown that every quantum superchannel with one slot can be realized in quantum circuits by encoder channel before the slot and decoder channel after the slot. This decomposition also gives a clear physical interpretation of quantum superchannels. The story is different when the number of quantum channels is 2. These transformations are mathematically formalized as quantum superchannels as well. Inserting a quantum channel into slot A or B, we obtain as A and B. We obtain another quantum channel. However, the characterization is not known for general superchannels with 2 slots. This arises from indefinite causal order between slot A and B. Superchannels may have a definite causal order between slots. This superchannel has a causal order A to B. That is, B cannot signal to A. We call such type of superchannels causally ordered, but these are also called quantum comps or channels with memory, order process, and so on. It is known that causally ordered superchannels can be realized in quantum circuits as sequences of quantum channels. Not all superchannels have definite causal order. One of the example in indefinite causal order is quantum switch. Causal order of quantum switch is controlled by value of control qubit, 0 for A to B, and 1 for B to A. This control qubit can be a superposition of 0 and 1. So quantum switch can be characterized as a superposition of A to B circuit and B to A circuit. Mathematically, this quantum switch is a direct sum of the 2 circuits. While this cannot be realized in quantum circuits, quantum switch has a physical interpretation of superposition of causal orders A to B and B to A. Still, we have other superchannels not in definite causal order, and it has not been known whether we can characterize them like quantum switch. So physical interpretation for general superchannels is not obvious. To obtain possible physical interpretation, we focus on the class of superchannels preserving reversibility of impulse channels. That is, superchannels which transforms two unitary channels into one unitary channel. These superchannels are called pure superchannels, also called pure process. One of the example is quantum switch. This class is proposed for discussion about physicality of superchannels and is important for physicality of physical interpretation of superchannels. In addition, this class is as fundamental as unitary channels, since unitary channels are transformations between pure states and and pure superchannels are transformations between unitary channels. We analyze the restrictions imposed by reversibility, preserving property of reversibility preserving property of superchannels. In previous research, causally ordered quantum superchannels are sequences of quantum channels, while physical interpretation for general quantum superchannels with two slots are not known. In the following, I present our main results about general forms of these superchannels with preserving reversibility, which give physical interpretation of them. Quantum switch happen to be a direct sum form, but general forms of pure superchannels have not been known, so we have investigated them. Then we go to our main results. We obtained the general forms of pure causally ordered superchannels with any slot, and pure superchannels with two slots. First, we decomposed pure causally ordered superchannels with n slots. We decomposed them into sequences of unitary channels. In the previous picture, general comms are decomposed into sequences of quantum channels, not necessarily unitary. The strain spring dilation ensures this can be realized by unitary channels, but additional auxiliary states and discarding subsystems remain. Now pure comms are decomposed into sequences, unitary channels without them. I skip presenting our detailed proof of this theorem, but I present an important property used for the proof. This is a figure of the property. If orthogonal pure states in the output space of B, that is BO, are taken as note that BO is are taken as inputs. If orthogonal pure states in BO, then the reduced output states in F are orthogonal. We can confirm the previous form of decomposition of pure comp satisfy this property. Imagine inputs in BO are orthogonal. Then the outputs in F should be orthogonal due to unitarity of U2. Next, we decomposed pure superchannels with two slots into direct sums of pure comps with different causal orders A to B and B to A. This form is a generalized one of quantum switch. This upper circuit is a pure comp of A to B from the previous theorem, and this lower one is of B to A. Our proof of this theorem spans about 20 pages, so also please let me skip our detailed proof but I present the important properties of pure superchannels and used for the proof and the core idea of the proof. This is the properties of pure superchannel. If orthogonal pure states in both AO and BO are taken as inputs, alpha and alpha perp are orthogonal and beta perp are orthogonal here, then the reduced output states in F are orthogonal. Again, we can confirm the previous form of the decomposition satisfies this property. Imagine the outputs, the inputs in AO are orthogonal and the inputs in BO are orthogonal, then the outputs in F should be orthogonal due to unitarity of U2 and V2. Next, this is the second property of pure superchannels. If orthogonal pure states in AO are taken as inputs, then the reduced output states in BI tensor F are orthogonal. Last, this is the third property. This is a property with A and B swapped in the property 2. Now I present a core idea of our proof. To decompose to decompose W pure into A to B part and B to A part, we want to decompose F here into A to B part and B to A part. Of course, B is also decomposed, but we focus on F. To plan a strategy, we consider a simple task. We W have a quarter order, either A to B or B to A. And we have to decide whether. To perform this task, let's recall the property of pure causally ordered superchannels. If orthogonal pure states in the output space of B, BO, then the reduced output space states in F are orthogonal. So if the reduced output states in F are not orthogonal, then W is not A to B. So therefore, W is B to A. In our proof, we used a similar strategy. For example, a reduced states F in F appeared in both situations where we insert beta in BO and where we insert beta perp. Then the state F should be attributed to B to A part. We showed the decomposition of pure superchannels in the case of two slots, but this cannot be generalized into the case of more than 2 slots. In fact, there exist pure superchannels which cannot be written in the form of direct sums of quantum comps in the case of Fourier slots. We have now come to the conclusion of my talk. Physical interpretation of general superchannels are not obvious, so we focus on superchannels preserving a reversibility called pure superchannels and analyze their general forms. We investigate the generalized form of pure superchannels. Pure causal order superchannels are decomposed into sequences of unitary channels, and pure superchannels with 2 slots are decomposed into superposition of pure causal ordered superchannels. We proved these main results with the property of pure superchannels on transmission of orthogonality in pure superchannels. And it is not known what are the general forms of superchannels with more than 2 slots. I note that after completion of this work, these related works with similar results are obtained by other groups independently. Thank you for listening.